Hi guys, welcome to Interior Insights. I'm Jade and we are standing in a former Dart shop that has been turned into a 70 square meter loft. Come in! This loft is located in the base floor of the house and it just has one scrumptious blend of unique materials. This loft perfectly blends designer icon furniture pieces with industrial and rough finishers. If you haven't subscribed yet, go and subscribe right now. As we come inside, you can see that you just have one gigantic space that blends all of the different functions into each other. When the owners recently bought this place, this used to be a former Dart shop that everybody in the neighborhood in Hamburg, Eppendorf knew that belonged to an old lady who took care of this Dart shop for over 30 years. And the owners managed to transform this place into a very unique loft. The owners of this apartment decided to renovate as much as they can by themselves, and because they didn't really know what they were doing at the beginning when they started with the renovation, they decided on an industrial look and design to just create an authentic experience and to stay true to the history and materiality of the place. For example, behind me we have this white wall that has been covered in plaster, but in between the plaster there is still some of the brick wall that is exposed and laid free, and it is accentuated with ambient indirect lighting, and it just makes the history and the historic details pop. As soon as we come in, there is kind of an entryway composition, and that consists of a gigantic mirror that goes quite a bit to the top, and it is paired with vintage and unique furniture pieces. So over here we have this bench that is made from old historic, from old leather, and it just has a very old patina, and you can put all of your things here. To my right we have a lush green sofa chair, and you need to keep in mind that every single item of furniture in this apartment is vintage and has been bought at some vintage shop. Another key feature of this loft is the fact that the raw structure that holds up this building has been laid free and exposed. For example, when the owners bought this place, they decided to remove the drop ceiling to just add a bunch of extra height, but we still can see the metal beams that used to hold the drop ceiling, and they were again visually elevated with lighting, and I love it. Over here is the dining area, and it consists of one long minimal table that spans all the way from one side of the room to the other side of the room. Because this place used to be a storefront, we have these gigantic windows that completely frame one wall, and you just have a bunch of natural light coming in that illuminates the space. The white table is framed by different designer furniture chairs, and if you know me, you know my favorite type of furniture is a chair. So I'm absolutely excited that there's so many different chairs here. On the one hand, we have a bunch of fiberglass Eames chairs that perfectly go with the industrial and vintage atmosphere of the apartment. And you see that you can really just create your own entire world of design, and you don't just need to follow the rules. For the second type of chairs, we have the cantilever chairs that again add a sense of class and elegance to the design. Even though the color palette in this apartment is quite minimalistic, we have grays topped with browns and some muted greens that all go very well with all of the natural color of the wood that we have here. You have some pops of color here and there that really add this playful and fun character, such as instead of having boring regular glasses, we have these very colorful glasses. And that's just a simple trick to add some fun and excitement to your design. Whenever you have an open floor layout, it's important to visually zone the different areas. And the dining room was zoned with these two lamps that are just hanging freely above the table and zoning the area and creating an axis. So over here is the sofa area and the lounge area, and you can see that it kind of feels like a warm and comfortable cave because we have this lower ceiling height, and it just makes you feel very warm and comfortable. And whenever you want to create a relaxed or comfortable atmosphere, it's important to work with different types of fabric and also to add a lot of different sources of lighting, especially indirect lighting, such as this lamp at the back. because the light then can play and visually bounce around in the room, and that just feels very satisfying. Here again we have some beautiful lounge chairs with a very bold design, and they almost seem kind of like a sculpture in the room because they are so pronounced and because they're just freely standing inside the room. Before I show you the bedroom that has been elevated above me, let me show you the kitchen and the bathroom. One more thing. Whenever you don't have that much light in a space, or you want to just create a sense of expansion in any space, the go-to is always mirrors. You can just see how visually the space, even though it's already expansive, it just seems so much larger because we have such a gigantic mirror that it's just placed against this wall, and you can visually just feel that the space seems like it's double the size. Now, come with me. The living area freely flows into the kitchen, and it is separated. We can see that the kitchen itself is just kept in very muted beige and white tones, and what's really cool is the fact that the terrazzo that I'm standing on is actually still original from the Dart store. So this is just a historic piece that has been kept original. And to give the kitchen some warmth, we just have this wooden cabinet that has been added. And I love the juxtaposition of the square geometry of the cabinet paired with all of the rounded angles, because it just seems very satisfying and very soft. Now let me show you the first bedroom. So this is the first bedroom, and even though the space itself isn't so big, it feels very expansive because of the gigantic ceiling height that we have. The colors are very muted and create a very relaxed atmosphere. What I notice is the fact that the color of the wall actually is kind of like a gray, but because the gray color of the wall is paired with pink curtains, visually the room feels very warm and the wall almost seems like it's kind of pink, and I love that. Whenever you have high ceilings, it's important to really use this vertical space, and this is why we just have two beautiful lighting sculptures hung above the bed that just create this, that kind of mimic the shape of a cloud, and it just feels very dreamy. And you can see that with simple elements such as lighting or pairing a gray with a warmer color, you can just create this very holistically warm and loving design. Another little composition that I love is the fact that here we have this, in German you would call it a secretary table, I'm not sure how to call it in English. That's just a very classical shape, classical color of this like warm, almost orange wood paired with a sleek steel chair. And I just love the contrast and composition, and I feel like it perfectly goes together. Now let me show you the beautiful bathroom. So this is the bathroom. Again, you just have this very calming atmosphere, and there wasn't much done to the bathroom, but it still feels very luxurious and very calming. The walls are actually covered just with rough plaster that create this very textured and organic atmosphere, and all of the beige tones that we have in the bathroom are complemented with beautiful bright green plants. This is another great simple trick if you want to spice up your bathroom, is to just add some green plants, because they instantly add the sense of life and vibrancy. Another thing that I love is the fact that the theme of the terrazzo floor that we have still as an original detail has been pulled as a source of inspiration and integrated. So actually we have yet another piece of terrazzo here, which is the sink, and that is great. Or another little detail that I love is the fact that inside the shower we have these beautiful tiles, and they again create this certain scale and repetition and just create this little designer moment, even though it's just a regular shower. Now let me show you the bedroom. This is the entryway to the bedroom. And it's just one dream of a bedroom, because the whole entire second floor has been custom built, as well as the stairs that I'm standing on. And this is why you just have this perfect, smooth experience. So as we come up here, we have the primary bedroom, and it's just one dream of a bedroom because you get to lay here and wake up with a view. And whenever you have elevated mezzanine bedrooms like these, where you actually get to look down to the first floor, you're very lucky because you just have this very expansive and grand feeling. And you can see that again here, not a lot of colors have been added. We have the natural brown of the wood, or we have very light and soft colors, but just by adding colorful striped bed sheets, you just have this pop of color and you just created this interesting, eye-catching design. And I love this 70s acrylic bedside table that again just creates and adds this round shape, or I absolutely love the fairy lights. It's just simple details like this that create the outstanding and dreamy design. And over here again we have a cupboard and a little composition that has been created, and you can see that a great trick is also just to put a bunch of different frames or mirrors on top of each other, and just to not be scared of breaking the rules and trying out something new. And I feel like this is a very thoughtful and nice composition. So yes, today we looked at an industrial loft that has a lot of different designer icons. Let me know what you thought of the loft in the comments and which piece was your favorite piece of furniture, because I have yet to decide. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, also make sure to subscribe and to check out the link for this loft in the description.